world where darkness and beauty intertwine, where the line between reality and imagination blurs, and where the master of macabre holds court. Tonight, we invite you to step into the haunting realm of one of literature's most enigmatic figures, Edgar Allan Poe.
Welcome one and all to the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy. We are delighted you could join us today. Which brings us to our first tale of our time together. She gets it, she's nodding, she knows what's coming. My friends, we begin our time together with the tell-tale heart. Enjoy.
It's impossible to say when first the idea entered my brain, for I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. No. Then so, I made up my mind to kill the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. No. They heard, no, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. But anything was better than this agony, anything more tolerable than this. I could bear those smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And still it just grew louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. All right, tell me no more. I admit the deed. Do you hear it? That sound. Wow. It is the beating of his hideous heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would kindly take your seats, the show must go on.
It seemed to me like the cat was avoiding my presence. This angered me, so I seized it, and in its fright at my violence, it inflicted upon my hand a wound with its teeth. The fury of a demon filled me. I knew myself no longer. I withdrew from my waistcoat pocket a small knife, opened it, seized the beast by its throat, and slowly and deliberately carved an eye from its socket. As my animosity for the cat grew, its love for me increased. It followed in my footsteps. If I sat, it would crouch under my chair, spring up on my knees. It tripped me up everywhere I went. I hated the damn cat. There came a crying, like the crying of a child. It grew into a screaming, into a wailing, like it was being wrenched from the throats of the damned, crying out in pure agony. before rushing forward to pick at the plaster and pull away the bricks, and there stood the body of my wife, black with dried blood, smelling of rotting flesh and decay. And on her head sat that hideous beast of a cat. Its one eye filled with fire, its mouth dripping blood. The cat that had been crying out its revenge. The cat that had seduced me into murder. Who has sentenced me to death. To the hangman. I had walled the monster up within the tomb.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would kindly take your seats, the show must go on.
Once upon a midnight dreary, as I sat and I pondered weak and weary, I had nodded off. I was merely napping. And suddenly, the faintest tapping at my chamber door. It must be some late visitor, I muttered to myself.
A maiden so fine and so fair that I would dare any man to deny that the angels filled the heavens with the song of her name every day at the breaking of dawn. And now she was gone. And then again I heard it. The rustling of each soft, purple satin curtain filling me with terrors the likes of which I had never known before. So to calm this now intense beating of my heart, I stood pacing and repeating, it's just some late visitor. Yes, a late visitor seeking solace there at my chamber door. It's just this. Nothing more. Sir? Madam, my apologies, you see. The truth is I was napping when so faintly tapping you came to seek me. I could not be sure that anyone was at my door at all. And again, he said, never more. Are you a bird? Are you a prophet? Are you something of evil who has sent you here? Why can't I just be left alone to heal in my grief? And again, the bird repeats, never more. I implore you, I beg you, say that God has sent you here on behalf of my Lord, that I will see her again one day. Perhaps in heaven far away. Is all this, all he would say was never more. Fine. Fine! You let that word be our sign of parting! Bird! Fiend! You lie! Go back from where you came! Leave with haste and leave not a single plume here in your wake! Leave
my loneliness unbroken. Take your peek from my broken heart, and you'll fall from atop my chamber door. Leave me here to heal. Whoa, the raven. Never more.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would kindly take your seats, the show must go on.
Well, my friends, after the death of Virginia Clay, Poe walks this world alone. No partner, very little family remaining. So what does he do? Oh yeah, so what does he do? Drink! Yes! He drinks heavily! As some of you in the audience are. Cheers to you! Yes! He begins to drink heavily as he devotes himself to his work. Then, a cold October night in 1849, Poe was discovered on the side of the road, semi-conscious, wearing clothes that were not his own and speaking in muddled thoughts. I hear that here at Port Charlotte, that's a normal Tuesday. Now, of course, he is rushed to the hospital for medical attention, but unfortunately, he passes away in the early morning hours. Now, the exact cause of death is never known, but one thing is certain. His work, oh, it does live on. Starting in 1949 and lasting more than half a century, an anonymous person by the name of the Poe Toaster begins to frequent the gravesite of Edgar Allan Poe on the eve of his birthday every year, leaving behind a partial bottle of cognac, as well as 3 red roses. My friends, none of us can escape death. But we can leave behind a beautiful legacy. With that said, it is my honor to conclude our night of festivities with our final gruesome tale of this evening. This is The Mask of the Red Death. Enjoy.
Oh, good. It's, 4 different people. I love it.
The Red Death had long devastated the countryside. No pestilence, plague, or disease was as deadly or as terrifying to behold. It wasn't until half the population had died that the prince of the land, one Prospero by name, took some 1,000 of his happy, healthy, hardy, rich friends and scurried away with him to a castellated abbey that he built. There within great stone towers, encased within great strong walls, and gated with thick iron. There, the Red Death would not touch them. There, the outside world would just fend for itself. There, they would be outfitted for all they would need for pleasure. Yes, indeed, there would be music, dancing, food to eat, and indeed, cocktails to drink. Cheers, daydreamers! Irish. 5 months pass, and even the most stalwart of guests is getting cabin fever in this lockdown. We've all been there. So the prince devises a way to raise the spirits of his guests by throwing a masquerade ball. And each room was connected, but so large and strangely angled, only one could be seen at a time. In each room, too, were 3 floor-length stained glass windows, each one colored to match the decorations of the room it occupied. Now, the first room in the east had decorations of blue, and blue were its windows. The second had tapestries, curtains, carpets of purple, and so too were its windows. The third had decorations of green, a fourth of yellow, the fifth of white, the sixth of violet, but the seventh room, my friends, would fail in matching its decorations with its windows. Where you see the walls, the floor, the ceiling, all was lined in black. For you see the stranger came dressed as the Red Death. Now the prince himself even came in to investigate, and upon seeing the stranger in such poor taste, he shouted,
"Seize him! Remove his mask, so that we may know who we must hang from the battlements at sunrise!"
Now the other guests went to acquiesce to their host's demand, but as they went to seize the stranger, a shiver of fear went up their spine, freezing them mere inches away. And so unobstructed, unimpeded, it stalked, from room to room, from blue to purple, purple to green, green to yellow, yellow to white, white to violet, until it reached the room lined in black, where it stopped, turned, and waited. None dared follow, save at the last for Prospero himself, who mustered up his courage, took his dagger, bore it aloft, and ran screaming through the rooms in pure vengeance. But as none dared follow their host, all that could be heard was a clatter, a thud, and silence. Fear would soon give way to curiosity. As the other guests went to investigate what had happened to their prince, all they could find when they reached that seventh room was their prince lying dead, prostrate on the floor, his knife gleaming in the red light, and standing over the body in the shadow of that deep clock was the stranger. Now the strongest of the guests went to seize this traitor. Who would dare kill their host inside his own home? But as they reached out to grab him, the other guests realized the shrouds held no mortal form. It was at this point the guests realized the Red Death itself had been among them. He came like a thief in the night, and one by one by one, each of the guests fell dead. The light behind the windows went out, and the music stopped, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held unlimited dominion over all.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy your time in our little speakeasy show? Now something to note, every part of this experience that you have with us today, all the drinks coming out of that back room, the lights and the sound, the storytelling I bet you were not expecting up here on stage, all of it done for you by just the five of us. Can I get a round for the cast and the crew? If we're going to applaud for anything today, I must ask you to keep it going for yourselves, because without fine men and women like you coming out and supporting the arts, we cannot live our dreams and have our career. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being here, Poe Show. You see, it's our honor to travel the country together, sharing the works of Poe and the other late literary greats of our time. We do so together in a big black van that's parked outside. Now, it's so lovely to finally be home back in our great state of Florida after months on the road. We have been grinding these shows out together, and if you guys had a good time, we got 4 more to come see. Just ask for details on that. Now, Work with us, follow the parking attendant. We're all moving that way. Drive safely. Have a wonderful night, and come see us again. We'd love to have you. Be well, Port Charlotte. We'll see you soon.
I wish we could do it again.
You guys look great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's like we dress appropriately.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
I'm glad
it.
you enjoyed
Thank you.
Thank you.